Lift up your head so you gates and be lifted up, you ancient altar.
Hi, I'm Graham Cochran, founder of therecordingrevolution.com, and welcome back to Getting Started Fast in Pro Tools. And in video 2, we're going to take a look at how to create your own sessions from scratch in Pro Tools. You don't need a template to get started. In fact, you can set it up to work just the way you like to work for your workflow. Now, if you're a little bit more advanced in Pro Tools, you may want to skip to video 3 where we get more into actually making the music. But if you're brand new, watch this video. You're going to have a firm grasp of how to create anything and everything you need in Pro Tools. Let's jump in. Now, when you launch Pro Tools, instead of using a template like we did last time, let's create a blank session. Okay? It's going to get rid of the template choices. You have the same sample rate, bit depth selections here. I'm going to choose interleaved and click OK. Now, welcome to a fresh and clean, empty Pro Tools session. There's nothing in this session. You have literally a clean canvas to work off of. Now, let's create some tracks. The fastest way to do that is from the track menu. Click New. The New Tracks window will open up and you get a few choices here. How many tracks? Do you want it to be mono or stereo? And what kind of track? Do you need audio tracks to record a guitar or your vocal? Do you need auxiliary inputs if you're going to set up a reverb, send, or delay? Do you need a MIDI track if you're going to play a MIDI instrument outside of Pro Tools, or an instrument track if you're going to play a virtual instrument or a master fader? You select it. So what I want to do is create, let's say, one mono audio track. I also click this plus menu, which gives me some more options here. So in addition to that one mono audio track, I can create, let's say, 2 stereo instrument tracks. Click the plus one more time, and I can choose 1 stereo aux input. And maybe let's do one more. We'll create 1 stereo master fader. Click Create, and it populates Pro Tools with the tracks you decided to use. Now, a quick way to make these tracks bigger, you can always come over here, and underneath a track, the cursor will turn into a little drag or drop, which allows you to drag the track bigger or smaller. Or if you hold Option or Alt and click and drag, it'll drag all tracks the same size. Now let's create a click track. I like to work with click tracks so I know what tempo I'm playing to, and my song will come together faster and in time as we all play and record to the same tempo. Fastest way to do that is Track, Create, Click Track. Now it makes it this small little green track here at the bottom, but what it is really an auxiliary track with, if we flip over to the mix window, the click plugin already instantiated. And you can change the sound of the click track here to different types of cowbells or blocks, whatever makes more sense to you. And you can make it on the quarter note or on the 8th note or the 16th. A lot of options there in the click plugin. If I click play, this is what I get. Right? The default click sound set to my default tempo of 120. Let's say I don't like that sound. I can choose block. And if I like that, I can choose the same block sound or a different block sound for the second click. There we go. This is probably not going to be the tempo you need to work at. You might already have a different feel for your tempo of the song. Now, what if you don't know the tempo of your song? A lot of times I don't. I just know how it goes in my head. So the fastest way to find the tempo is to come down to your transport window. Make sure that the conductor track, this little guy with his hands up in the air, is unchecked because we want to manually control this. We don't want the conductor ruler to control this. Click inside the tempo where it's set to 120. And instead of trying to guess a number of beats per minute that the tempo is, once you've selected in here, simply find the T key on your keyboard and tap along with the tempo you hear in your head. So I know my song's gonna go, lift, da, 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 da. So I'm gonna tap along with the keyboard here. Bum, 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 bum. Click enter. Looks like 80 BPM is my tempo. It's as simple as that. And if you're a little too slow, a little too fast, at least you're in the ballpark. You can always click and drag it up or down, or type in a specific number, like 82, let's say. Awesome. Now on one of our instrument tracks, let's go ahead and create drum instrument. So if you're working in the edit window and you want to stay in that view, but you also want to insert plugins and play with them like you see up here. These are your inserts where you can create plugins. Then what I like to do in the edit window is make sure I can see that same part of the window here. Up here, there's a little drop down that gives you some options, and you can see your inserts. These are the same 5 insert slots as up here in the mix window. So this is great. So what I can do then is stay in this window, choose plugins, and look for Boom. You can insert any virtual instrument you have simply by finding it in the menu and inserting on your instrument track. Now on my mono audio track, let's say I want to, like I said, plug in my guitar and record a little bit here. I want to make sure I can see the inputs, so I'm going to choose this little drop down and make sure I can see the I/O inside the edit window. Remember, this is the same I/O that you have here in the mix window. Make sure that my interface instrument 1 is selected. Record enabled the track. Simple as that. Now, a little tip is before you do any recording, you want to go ahead and name this track. Name it guitar. The reason you want to do that is because when you record a clip of audio in Pro Tools, it's going to start naming that audio file based off of whatever the name of your track is. So until you change the name of your track, you're going to start recording all these guitar parts, vocal parts, whatever, and they're all going to be called Audio 01, Audio 02, and that makes it very confusing if you need to go find the right piece of audio later. So go ahead and name the track before you do any recording and you'll be set. You can also change the track color by double-clicking the little bar to the left of it, and we could choose a nice little mint green or a bright yellow. You can do this on multiple tracks by clicking and then holding Shift and clicking the next track you want to include, then double-clicking the color and changes the color there. Over in the mix window, the fader obviously controls your volume in the mix. So this is after all the plugins. You can mix it the way you want. You got pan pots that allow you to pan it left or right. You can also hold Option or Alt and click any of these and it'll snap it back to the 0 spot. Solo, mute, and we've already showed you record enable, which allows you to hear your track if you're just practicing. And also when you press record, Pro Tools will actually record whatever track has record enable set up. The one thing you'll notice over here is on the click track, the solo button is grayed out. This is very interesting because when you solo something here, let's say, you still hear the click track even though the click is not soloed, the auxiliary track is soloed. That's because like this grayed out solo button is showing it's in solo safe mode, which means it will always play no matter what tracks are soloed, so you will always hear it. That's very helpful for a click track because I may solo a few tracks while I'm recording, but I don't want to have that accidentally mute my click. Or if you have a reverb track and you want that to always be playing, even if you solo a vocal, you want to make sure that the reverb isn't muted, you can solo safe a track simply by holding Command and clicking the solo button. Now in the first video we had a template already set up with some reverb returns. Let's make a reverb return here with our custom session. Let's double click this aux track and call it reverb. Then I'm going to insert the Deverb plugin. It comes free with Pro Tools. And I use this plugin all the time in my mixes. What I'm going to do is go to my sends in my guitar track and send it to a reverb track. And now I have a send, which I can send a little bit of my guitar into that reverb. Now let's flip over to our template session from the previous video. This template basically includes all the stuff we were just creating from scratch. I've got virtual instruments, I've got audio tracks, I've got a click track, a master faders, a reverb return, and a couple sends already sent to those tracks individually. It's already just laid out for you, so you don't even have to worry about creating tracks like we did in this video. Now let's get to making some music. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to record and start building your song.